In the quiet town of Kolo, nestled between two hills and wrapped in misty mornings, there lived a girl named AMIRA. She was known to most, but understood by none. AMIRA barely spoke in class, not because she didn't have thoughts, but because her words stumbled and twisted. When she tried to speak, her voice shook and her tongue danced in fear. The students mocked her. Snail mouth, they called her. Slow brain, some sneered. Even worse, one of her teachers once muttered loud enough for others to hear, "This girl will amount to nothing." No one knew that every night, while the town slept, AMIRA's world came alive in a notebook she kept hidden beneath her mattress. In it lived kingdoms, stars, and characters who spoke freely, just like she wished she could. Her stories were vivid, magical, and full of meaning, but fear kept them locked away. "They'll laugh," she thought. "They always do." One Monday morning, the head of the school stood in front of the assembly. "There's a national writing contest," she announced. "The winner's story will be published, and they'll be interviewed on national television." The students cheered, but AMIRA stayed silent. Her heart pounded. What if I entered? She thought. Then quickly, what if they laugh? That afternoon, as she walked home with her head down, she passed a dusty roadside bookstall run by an old woman with silver hair and warm eyes. "You carry a heavy heart, child," the woman said kindly. Surprised, AMIRA paused. "Do you like to read?" the woman asked. "I like to write," AMIRA whispered. The woman, whose name was Madame Cassara, reached for her hand gently. "Then why does your face hide your light?" AMIRA hesitated. "I want to join the contest, but I'm scared. No one believes in me." Madame Cassara smiled softly. "Then start with you. Believe in yourself first. Remember, a voice that trembles is still a voice." That night, AMIRA pulled out her secret notebook. Her hands trembled, but her heart burned. She chose her best story, typed it carefully, and submitted it without telling a soul. Days passed. Nothing changed. The mocking continued. "Why do you even come to school?" A girl spat. "You'll never be anything." AMIRA stayed quiet. Her voice still shook, but her fire stayed lit. On the day of the contest results, the entire school gathered in the dusty hall. The principal stood with a paper in her hand. "This year's National Writing Contest winner," she paused, "is from our very own Kolo High, AMIRA Kembe." The hall went still. Then gasps, laughter, confusion. "She can't even talk properly." A boy blurted out. How did she write anything? But it was true. She had won. AMIRA stood. Her steps were slow. Her hands were cold, but her spirit was warm. Even the teacher who had once dismissed her clapped. Some students whispered, "We knew she had something." But AMIRA knew they hadn't believed in her. Not really. That day, she didn't need their belief. She had her own. Weeks later, AMIRA was invited to a celebration in the city. Lights, cameras, people, everything was new. She was handed a microphone. Her heart pounded. She looked at the crowd. She closed her eyes. And then she spoke. "They call me slow. I believe them. They laughed at my voice. I stayed silent. But inside, I never stopped writing, never stopped dreaming. I don't speak like you, but I still have something to say." The room rose in applause. Some cried. Others stood stunned. And in the front row sat Madame Cassara, tears in her eyes. "Your story touched their hearts," she said softly when AMIRA came down. "And your voice, child, it reached the sky." From that day, AMIRA never hid her notebook again. She filled more pages. She spoke in schools, at events, on stages. Sometimes her voice shook, sometimes it didn't. But always it was heard, not because it was perfect, but because it was hers. Years later, AMIRA became an author. In every book's dedication, she wrote the same words. To the child who's told they're not enough, your worth isn't found in their words. It's rooted in your fire. Speak, even if your voice trembles. Write, even if your hands shake. Shine, even if the world hasn't clapped for you yet. You are already worthy.